Getting ready to lay out a quilt sandwich, but I'm using some things I've never used before, and I wanted to share you why I chose them. So, first of all, I'm not using batting. I'm going to use a flannel sheet instead of batting. Second of all, I'm using a plain sheet for backing. And then finally, we're going to put Betty's quilt down. But more important than all of that, Betty does this a little different. I'm going to show you what I do using my pins. So I'm here in the guest room, which is where I've started laying out all of my quilts because, well, I don't like crawling around on the floor. I don't like hurting my back. So this sheet actually was in the bag with all the fabric bits that became Betty's quilt top. Now, I'm going to assume Betty wanted this to be her backing because, well, she put it in with all the bits and pieces. So that's what I'm using it for. Now I have laundered it. It's actually in pretty good shape. It's not new, but it's, like I said, in good repair. And there are a few little stains, but they're out on the edges. So I don't think I'm going to have to worry about them. Now, lots of people get all excited about the right way to lay out your sandwich. And good for them. I don't get excited about things like that. And here's why. I just have found this system works well for me. What I have here are the big quilting pins that have the bends in them. I'm actually going to pin this backing to the quilt top that's on my bed. I'm straightening as I go, and I'm trying to work around evenly. And the beauty of this is I'm not bending over and hurting my back. I'm not crawling around on my hands and knees, because frankly, a woman my age shouldn't be crawling around on their hands and knees. And I actually broke my knee about a year ago, and my knee just will not tolerate it. So you can see I'm straightening as I go, and I'm not putting a lot of pins. I think I've got 4 on this side. I've only got 2 on the other side, but I'm going to add a couple of more. And then we're going to put down the flannel sheet that I'm going to use for batting. Now, I did a video some time back, and I asked people where they resourced things to cut the cost of quilting. Quilting can be very expensive if you buy everything new and all of that. But there are shortcuts and there are ways around some of those big expenses. Now, I assume Betty knew that, which is why she saved this sheet for her backing. But many of you commented about going to things like estate sales and um, resale shops. So I've explored those options, and I actually got this flannel sheet at an estate sale. Paid $5 for it. It's a twin size. Now, if I had looked more carefully at it, I would have realized it's synthetic. So it's all just a polyester flannel, and it's got a print on it, which at the time I was thinking I would use it for backing, but this time I'm using it for batting. So because of the print, I'm going to put this print side down towards the back because I think this blue sheet will kind of hide that print. And that'll give us a more neutral sandwich. Now I've already tested and I am absolutely sure this sheet is big enough. Moving forward, I will buy bigger sheets because I'm making mostly twin size blankets for donation and quilts for donation, which means I need a little bit extra. So I'll probably be getting at least full size if they're available. All right, now you can see I've got this all laid out. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to move these pins, and now I'm going to pin both the flannel sheet and the regular sheet to the quilt that's on top of my bed. And you can see that the flannel sheet is nice and flat without any wrinkles. And you know what? Even if it gets a wrinkle here or there, I've got lots of room between the size of my quilt top and this sandwich to play with. Again, I'm just doing this to save my back and to keep things from moving around. Let me finish pinning this, and then we'll add our quilt top, and I'll show you yet another one of my shortcuts that have really changed the way I lay things out. Okay, I've got my backing and my batting, which is a flannel sheet, pinned down. And now we're going to get the quilt top out. I put my quilt tops on pool noodles after they're pressed because they're easier to store and stack up and they don't get all wrinkly. And watch how easy this lays out to make my sandwich. I did wash this quilt top after I got it all made because I was very concerned about the reds in it bleeding, and I didn't want the reds to bleed into the backing and the batting and all that because it really would ruin the aesthetics of the quilt. So it's been washed. I have rolled it up, and you can see just being on the pool noodle, there's no wrinkles in it to speak of. It's going to be pretty easy to flatten out and get pinned down. But here's the other thing. Some quilters are insistent that you have to start from the center of your quilt and work out so that you can work out all the wrinkles. I've already worked out the wrinkles. Yeah, because I've pinned everything down to something else that's already stable. So this is going to be a really quick, easy pinning job. I'm going to scoot this quilt top over just a wee bit because I'm kind of close to the edge of this flannel sheet over here. But you're going to find out in a second that me moving this quilt top is so easy because nothing below it is going to move. And I can do that quilter swoosh just fine because everything is nice and stable. And then I'm going to, seems like I've been breaking a lot of rules lately. I'm going to break the rules again and start from this side and come towards you to get this pin basted down. Ultimately, I will pin every block, but I've already decided on the quilting on this. I'm going to go across these squares from corner to corner. So I'm not going to pin in the middle of the squares or on the corners. I'm going to pin just offside. And yeah, this is going to be a really quick, easy quilting job with my quilting foot and I'm sorry, my walking foot. So let's get busy pinning. My first round of pins is going to be pretty far apart, maybe 18 or 24 inches. Because again, I'm just stabilizing the quilt top to all the fabric that's already stable under here. You know, there's nothing moving. I'm not walking on it. And you can see how easy flattening this out is going to be as we move across. I'm even going to go so far as to run my hand under the backing so that when I put these pins in, everything lays nice and flat. This has really simplified the way I do things. Pool noodles. Man, who knew pool noodles could be useful in quilting? First time I saw it on a YouTube video, I was like just shocked someone would even try it. Well, now I have several pool noodles and they all have quilt tops on them. So, you know, YouTube is a wonderful thing. Oops, now I need to do a little more straightening here. And there we have it. No problem. I'm going to run my arm under and start my next set of pins. I'll bring you back when I've got it all pinned down, and then I'll show you how I release it and how great it looks. Okay, I've made it all the way around the quilt. I've got pins every 7 or 8 inches, maybe a foot apart, but I've mentioned to you I have a height problem. I'm vertically challenged and horizontally enhanced. So I couldn't really reach all the way to the center of the quilt sandwich, but that's okay because I've got oodles of pins on the edges. And as my art teacher from junior high said, if you glue down the edges, the middle's going to stay there too. Okay, this isn't glue, and that's not a perfect analogy, but I think you know what I mean. So here we go. I am now going to take the pins out of both the of all the layers, holding this down to the bed itself. And we're going to start gently turning this and rolling it. Now, as you can see, I did get a pin kind of all the way through. That's okay. But as I do this, I can also continue adding pins and stabilizing. And it's starting to get much easier to work with. And I can kind of judge where I need another pin, right? Because, I mean, once we release this from the fabric on the bed, on the quilt itself, this unquilted piece is going to start slipping around. So the trick is to gently, without disturbing it too much, start adding pins as you release the sandwich from the quilt on the bed. I promise you this works. And honestly, it has simplified so much of what I do in my quilting because I don't stress about the fabric moving anymore, because the original backing and batting is attached to the bed. So it really can't go very far. And you can see as I work away, now I'm actually going to switch sides and we're going to meet in the middle of this. Okay, I've already released this side and started adding pins. I'm doing this just like I did on the other side. Nothing magical about it. It seems a little magical because it's so dang easy. And, but yeah, it works really, really well. And I'm just going to keep working my way to the center here. I can even now start moving this so that I can get to this center section where I really don't have very many pins at all. but it's pretty stable and it's gonna work great. I've got it all pinned, and as predicted, as I work towards the center, I added lots more pins in the center. I now have pins every 4 to 6 inches. I've also trimmed the ends off so that there's a little less weight and I can take it to the machine. As I told you at the beginning, I'm going to go corner to corner on these blocks in the center, and then I'm not sure what I'm going to do on that outer border. But I think this is going to work really, really well. One of the reasons I went ahead and used this synthetic flannel sheet, this quilt top and this backing has a lot of polyester in it also. And because I did wash the quilt top, the shrinkage is going to be negligible. And so all of these fabrics should work well together. I would caution you, if you go and buy some flannel sheets and you're not sure, are they 100% cotton or are they cotton poly blend? Just really try to pay attention and match your style of fabric to your batting. I think this is going to be great. I'm so glad you came along and watched me with my own little system here. I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe.